Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Tom's Hirschsprung's podcast. Very special guest this week. I have Laura O'Reilly with me. Laura is very much into fitness, socializing, traveling, a former podcaster as well. And we're going to talk about Laura's story. Welcome to the podcast, Laura.
Thanks. I love a good podcast, as you know, so I'm very happy to be here and speak all things health, fitness, and what I like to harp on about a lot.
Fantastic. We will definitely get into health, well-being, fitness, but I'd like to start, if I may, with your story, and we're going to sort of take it back pre-diagnosis, diagnosis of IBD. So pre-diagnosis, what was your life like?
Pre-diagnosis, God, I was a completely different person in terms of how I lived my life and my lifestyle. So I was very sociable. I would say I'm still quite sociable, but I socialise very differently now. So my life, pre-diagnosis, I was out probably partying a lot every weekend, most weekends, travelling a lot, different countries, different festivals. I ate and drank not very well. I never looked after myself physically. I would have always been quite a headstrong person in terms of my mentality, but physically and really looking after my body. Something as simple as drinking enough water, like I never did it. So my health then went downhill, obviously not just because of that, because we know that's not the cause of IBD, but at the same time, I never helped myself until I got sick. And I was diagnosed with, so in the June, it was actually in 2020, in like the height of lockdown, you could say, I just started noticing blood in the stool, and then more urgency. And I was saying to my friends one day, we were out again, as I was. Well, we weren't out actually, we were all after getting a takeaway pizza and we were having a few drinks because at the time we couldn't go out. And I was telling them and they were like, it's probably just hemorrhoid or something like that. And I was like, yeah, well, keep an eye on it. And it just kind of started to get a bit worse, like quite quickly. And I was like, oh, Christ. And then the dreaded, oh my God, the embarrassment of going to the doctor with this. So I did put it off, sadly, for a few weeks. And then it was just getting worse. I had to go. Of course, I turned to Google and almost self-diagnosed myself to be 6 foot under quite quickly. So I'm like, right, no, I got to go to the doctor. So went, told her all my symptoms. She did a physical exam, which I will never, ever forget. Felt the most vulnerable I ever felt in my whole life. I was crying through the entire thing because I'd convinced myself I had bowel cancer. And when I asked her, like, of course, she couldn't tell me either. So when she couldn't tell me that made me worse. So I was like, yeah, writing myself off. So I was sent for my colonoscopy, which came through a few weeks later. And immediately, I was actually very quickly diagnosed with ulcerative colitis then, which I never heard of at all. Had no clue. Like I understood Crohn's disease to an extent. So I just thought, okay, great, I have a diagnosis. Can I please have my medication and let me get on with my life? Like it would be that easy, you know? And God, little did I know what I was in for. And so I started on very mild medication, I guess, as they're trying to figure out how you react to things, and nothing was working. I was getting progressively worse, and they decided after another few, I think it was like 2 or 3 months, that I'd start biologic treatment. So I started on Amgevita self-injections, and I can remember the nurse coming out to the house to teach me like how to self-inject. And she was like, your life's going to go back to normal. This is going to be amazing. And, you know, the success rates are amazing. And I was like so excited going, really not bothered about jabbing myself. Like, let's go, let's get it done. So she was like, give it 12 weeks. So we gave it 12 weeks. Absolutely no improvement at all. So then we said we'd move on to infliximab. So I used to go in for my infusions every couple of weeks. Again, no improvement. At this point, my team were like scratching their heads going like, you're quite complex, because something usually does work, you know, be it steroids, whatever. So infliximab, when infliximab failed, I can remember I was only up the country on holiday at the time. And I had to cut the holiday short and come home. And I was so ill. I actually brought myself to A&E, something I would never do, ever, like, unless I had a limb hanging off. And because the health system here, the A&E department is just horrendous. But anyway, I went and they admitted me straight away, put me on IV steroids, whipped me off the treatment I was on, and spoke about possibly removing a part of the bone that was the main problem area, I guess. And they spoke about that like it was nothing. But to me, that was a huge deal. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, you know, and quite a person that would ask you like a million questions, because I want to know every single detail. I want to know, you know, it's just the way I am. And so they were like, right, we'll try another drug first. So they put me on Stelara. So I started Stelara while I was in hospital, and I was released like a week later. And week by week, like quite quickly, I started to improve. And I was like, oh my God, like I almost forgot what it was like to not be ill. And I was kind of going, I feel it very odd. So anyway, that was like the August, and the winter came and gone. I was feeling really good. And then I just started connecting. I think I only set up my IBD page in and around that time, actually, where I was in the midst of everything and I was looking for a million answers. And so I was starting to connect to a lot of people at that point. And Dan from AO Fitness, who's my current coach at the moment. So just like everybody else, you know, hey, how are you? You know, what do you have? How are you dealing with it? What medication you on? And we just kind of became friends, really, just through having the same disease, I guess. And I can remember in that January, he was putting out something, like he was looking for, I don't know, was it some challenge, like certain amount of people to take on like a 12-week fitness challenge. Now, this is coming from somebody who never lifted a dumbbell in my life. But I was after getting a feel for feeling normal and not sick again. And I really started to like appreciate my body a bit more and kind of start making more of an effort and like, you know, copping myself on basically. So I was like, will I, won't I? Will I, won't I? I was so close to not doing it because I had no confidence in fitness. Never mind a gym, I would have ran a mile. I'd be so embarrassed. Like there would be no way. So I was like, feck it, I'll do it. So I signed up in that January last year. And I started with home workouts. Like my plans were based around home workouts because, again, I was petrified to step foot in a gym. I didn't know what anything was. And so I did home workouts for like 5 weeks. And I really, really, really enjoyed them and enjoyed the nutrition plan. And I was just like really getting in the zone. And I was like, who is this, you know? And I was obviously feeling well at the time. So I was just like, this is amazing. And then I messaged one day and I said, right, I'm gonna take the leap. I'm gonna join a gym. And I can remember him saying to me, right, that's absolutely amazing. On your first day, if you feel really, really overwhelmed, ring me. Like go into the toilet and ring me and I'll just talk you through, or, you know, like really supportive. But he didn't have to do that, but obviously he knew how nervous I was. So I started the gym in, I think it was March last year. So I'm 13 months in the gym now. I've never missed one workout ever. And now it's part of my life where I cannot go without it. And I feel, sorry, in between that, let me just quickly, so that was 3 biologics done. That my 6-month little amazing time with Stellara came to an end also. So I had to go back in. So between like March last year and April, I had another scope and they're like, no, unfortunately, it's failed. So we're going to move you on to Rinvoq. So I'm currently on Rinvoq now. So I'm in the gym 13 months and I'm in Rinvoq 13 months. So is it ironic? Who knows?
Coincidence.
It's like this coincidence. But I've been doing really well since then. And now my whole life and probably Instagram page, as you can tell, revolves around promoting like health and fitness and just having people, I guess, see that I really, really was on the other side of where I am now. You know, I didn't look after myself. I neglected my body. I was solely relying on medication. So just by putting all of those things in place and investing in a coach has completely flipped the switch for me, you know, and my disease and my illness and how I feel and my energy and just everything. Sorry, that was a big spiel there. You didn't even get a word in.
No, I'm more than happy to sit back and listen to some incredible stories. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's, and again, a fantastic story. And I talk to a lot of people who find fitness and maybe they hadn't done so before. And they think, well, I'll start because I might feel better and this, that, and the other. And they really do find a lot of different positive benefits. And I think when some people say, oh, well, you join a gym, you think, right, okay, you think mainly physical benefits. And there are lots of physical benefits, don't get me wrong. But it's so much more than that, I find. You know, mentally, emotionally, socially, you find it's where exercise is far more than just physical.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, and anybody who does sort of find your Instagram page and would sort of look at that and say, oh, well, this is somebody who's been exercising, you know, their entire life.
Yeah.
So I that's the thing that really struck me about you is the fact that it's been, would you say 13 months?
13 months. Yeah. It's mad. And that's why I suppose I like to mention that a lot because, as you said, if you did go onto my page, you probably think, oh yeah, this is just another person harping on about the gym, blah, 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 blah. When actually, no, my entire life has benefited and changed so much. And as you said, it's not just physical. It's so much more. Like I only shared something on my story this morning and it was like, you know, you don't just go, fitness isn't about just changing your body. It really is a huge life-changing thing. And like, not just the gym, anything. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And when we were sort of chatting off air a little bit before, you said that your whole family, brothers and everybody were into fitness, and you were sort of the odd one out as such.
Yeah.
Did that help in a way in having people around you that were so into fitness? Did that make it easier for you to transition, or did you kind of think, oh, I've got to try and keep up with them and it's going to be a bit harder?
Do you know what? I don't think any of it played. Actually, no, it didn't influence me at all because they'd been doing it for years. And I used to just be like, oh, whatever. Or like, we'd all go on holiday and they're like bringing their running gear. I'm like, are you for real? Whereas now I go on holiday and I'm like, the hotel has to have a gym.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, my. But no, I mean, the minute I got into it, they're absolutely delighted. Like, my brother is always ringing, what's the story, blah, blah, blah. You know, he wants to see, like, we chat a lot about, like, my plans, what I'm doing. like the fat loss I've gone, like, because it's been a whole fat loss journey for me as well. So my goals, and like, I just think it's just something I'm really, really passionate about now. I read about it every single day. I learn about it. I'm not obsessed, but I am so interested that I just dig deep, and I really, really want to understand as much as I can about the body and stuff. And I really do have to thank my disease for that, you know?
Yeah. So you think sort of without the colitis, would you be in the gym, or would it just be absolutely not?
Absolutely not. And I can say that confidently. I just wouldn't have. I would have continued on just like living my best life and kind of carefree. And I still do that now, but I do it for different reasons. And the reasons are better, you know, for myself. No, I wouldn't have. No. So I'm always very thankful for having a shite disease, basically.
Yeah, it does have its benefits. I keep trying to put this on the podcast, and not everyone believes me. And I don't know how many episodes it'll take, but somebody somewhere will believe me at some point and say, actually, amidst the hundreds of things that maybe aren't so positive, there are lots and lots of positives that do come out of it. And I've spoken to many people like yourself who have said, right, okay, I want to do something. I want to do something that's going to help me. And maybe join a gym, maybe started running, maybe it doesn't have to go that far. The some side you said you said that you were really nervous and about joining a gym, and that goes for an awful lot of people. And I think that mentality of gym, sort of in inverted commas, that sort of, you imagine, incredibly muscle bound people, and you've got to be lifting the heaviest thing and doing this, that, the other, and it's, I'm not going to say, it's not like that for everybody, because there might be some gyms which are very much like that, but many of the people I've spoken to have had many different experiences with gyms, and they can go at their own pace. And maybe they're like you, they found somebody else, or somebody to help them along. Did you find? I know you said sort of it's been incredibly helpful, but did you find sort of having a backup as such and going to the gym, did you find that really beneficial?
Like having a coach?
Yeah, or somebody else that's just there for advice or what have you.
Oh my God, 1,000,000%. It's having a coach is an investment, right? It's money out of your pocket. And the way I look at it is, I could spend money on so much rubbish, which we all do at times, and that's fine. Like, it's just part and parcel. But the money I do spend on having a coach is absolutely priceless to me at the moment. I buy coffee bloody in a coffee shop a few times a week. You might just buy random bits and pieces here. All of that money is the same as paying for a coach, but you're getting so much more out of it. I genuinely, even though I feel like I'm in a really good place, I understand a lot now about exercise and, the plans and the exercises. I know them all now and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know it all. So I will continue to have a coach regardless of how confident I get, because I just think for the accountability for me, and having someone that's very, very knowledgeable. And I mean, like, I wreck his head. Like, I ask him so much for help. But I'd be always like, I'm getting my money's worth out of the end. That's what I'm paying you for.
Absolutely. There is absolutely nothing wrong, as you said there, with being curious. When I coached people, I did it for sort of a decade or so. I would always like to coach people that ask me questions. Okay, it's great having the people you go, do this, and they go and do it. That's great. But I'd always enjoy teaching people who wanted to know or said, "Oh, why am I doing this, Tom? Or what benefit is this to me, Tom?" Yeah, I loved having that, and I think it's just great that you're curious about it and want to know more, and starting from a beginner effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then wanting to know more. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, like I do, and I suppose as you said there, like when you're asking questions from a coach's perspective, then that person is really, really interested, or like I'd often send across videos and be like, can you check my form on this? And just so much. And I think it comes down to having that or building that rapport, I guess, with a coach, because not every coach is for everybody either, I just got lucky, I think, from the first off that he understands the disease first and foremost because he has it himself, which is obviously amazing, because if you come into a flare up, they're like, "Oh, I totally know how it feels," So yeah, I will forever encourage anybody that is unsure where to start or how to start to literally take it from me, who had no intention ever to do fitness or anything like that, to get a coach. And the guidance that a coach can give you is just invaluable, I think, and you've obviously been a coach, that yourself, so you can vouch for that too, I guess. It's so good. It's just so good. It's money well spent, well worth every penny.
Absolutely, definitely. And going along the lines of fitness, is there anything in particular? I know that there is something on your Instagram page, on the top part of your Instagram page, that you're training for at the moment.
I actually have a fitness shoot next week.
Okay.
I've not. I'm quite nervous about it because obviously, as we just spoke, I'm only doing this 13 months. I'm not ripped. I'm not doing this photo shoot to go in like a Mrs. Muscle, It's just how I am. This is about my fat loss journey. Like I'm down. I'm just breaking into. I was like 76.6 kgs, and I'm just breaking into 63 now.
Wow, fantastic.
So it's been like, it's not been super quick, where some fat drops off people and whatever. It's just been really consistent. And that's how I'm going to continue with it, really. But after the shoot, I guess we're going to increase my calories, which will be a big deal for me, and try work on building more muscle. And maybe next year's shoot will look a little bit better and more professional. But for now, the fitness shoot next week is fun. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be just all about my fat loss journey. And I guess how emotionally, physically, mentally, just stronger the whole thing has been for me, So yeah, that's kind of a goal of mine. And obviously then I think in time, it's possibly something I'd like to maybe go down into that kind of field myself,
Yeah, no, for sure. And also you do an excellent job, if I may say myself, with raising awareness for IBD. You do an awful lot of great work.
Thank you.
Are there any particular charities that you work with as well?
So I've had a few Zoom calls with Crohn's and Colitis Ireland. It's probably our only main Crohn's and Colitis charity in this country. Unfortunately, we don't have as many. Like, there's so many in the UK. It's amazing. So I've been a volunteer with Crohn's and Colitis Ireland. They're just in the process of like setting up and delegating different roles and things like that to people. So it's just a case of waiting to hear. There's I think there was 13 of us on the call. Also, I'm doing a Tough Mudder in July this year with my coach and on the team and that's for Guts Charity UK. So that's a fundraiser at the moment. And I think we're at like £600 or £700 at the moment. And some of the guys on the team, like their employments are like going to match whatever we make. Like, so it should be fun. That's in July. Am I ready for it? No. I've probably passed out halfway through. But I'm game ball. I'm feeling well. So all of these things now, I'm just like, yeah, let's get stuck in. Let's do it. You know.
Fantastic. And if people want to donate to your Tough Mudder adventure, where would they find
the link in my bio? The link is on my bio or on my coach's page, which is AO Fitness or AO Prone, sorry. And whoever else is involved in it, everybody I think is shared a link. But my one anyway is on my bio on my Instagram page.
And also, just very briefly, you did delve into the world of podcasting at the start of the year, with two other people as well, and have done that for what was it, about 4 months or so. Is that going?
Yes, did like Instagram lives for like 3 or 4 months, and then we went on to podcasting at the beginning of February. So it was actually only kind of 3 months, really, wasn't it? February, March, April, yeah. It feels longer, actually, probably because of the lives. But yeah, the podcast has sadly come to an end with all 3 of us. But, you know, all these things sometimes work out, sometimes you just kind of move on. But it was a lot of fun and made a lot of really nice connections. And like you, like I love listening to other people's stories and to understand, you know, how people deal with different things and illnesses and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was fun, yeah.
Fantastic. And that was Keeping Up with the Gals podcast, is that correct?
Keeping Up with the Gals, yeah. So it won't be around anymore. To be honest, I'm not sure what happens with the Spotify and things like that. But yeah, it's no longer. But it was fun. It was fun.
Excellent. And there's some back episodes in there that are really worth the listen. So if you have a little bit of time, once you finish listening to Laura's podcast on Laura's story on my podcast and all of the rest of my podcasts, then listen to that.
Yeah.
But lastly, what does the fitness future of Laura look like to you? Because obviously you've made massive progress since 2020. What do you, obviously you've got the Tough Mudder coming up, and you have the photo shoot coming up, and you've got lots of things going on in the near future. But what do you think your fitness journey will look like in the next few years or so?
Really good question, because I do think about it a lot. And I do think I'm at the stage in my life where I can even put more time and effort into it. So I would love to further on in the health and fitness field, as I'm happy to do it as a self-development thing for myself. Potentially doing a health and fitness personal training course myself, which I've spoke to my coach about. And, you know, I would also remain having a coach at that time, because I find a lot of people, I suppose, you know, that maybe do a personal training course, all of a sudden think they're qualified. And on paper you are, but you're really not. Like, you still, you know, you're not, are you, Tom?
No. You can't do a weekend course and get 10 years worth of experience. It doesn't work like that. But sorry for people who are about to go up to a course. It doesn't work like that.
Absolutely. Like, you're so right. And it's just like everything now. Oh, go on to YouTube, learn this. Or like, I'm a hairdresser, go on to YouTube and learn how to colour your hair. No, please don't. Like, please don't. So yeah, the same kind of thing. If I would love to go down that route, but I will have the support of keeping my coach until I'm well confident enough. Like, I have a hell of a lot to learn, but there's no harm in starting, and it's never too late to start either, you know?
Yeah. I think if anybody takes anything away from this, it's just start. Just start, see where you go.
Yeah.
It's not too late. It's I know lots of people who started running, or when they started in their 50s and things like that, and are now getting on really, really well. So
I think looking around, never. And I just think looking around, you see people in their 30s and 40s, and they're bloody looking so insane. I just think you get to that point in your life where you've almost like lived a little bit of a wild time maybe, and you really start investing in yourself. And I just think looking around, just that middle-aged ground is just like frumping health, fitness, like life, everything. I love to see it, you know. And I really hope it sticks around, the whole health and fitness kind of encouragement and stuff that's ongoing at the moment for anyone at any levels, any exercise. Just start moving.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. And I know I said lastly, but this is the really lastly. Where can people, I know we've mentioned it and touched it before, where can people find you?
So my Instagram page it's a bit of a long one. So it's like Laura _IBD _ me _ like, so basically Laura, IBD and me on a short.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And like, I always say to everyone, message me whenever. I love chatting, as you can probably tell. So like, I'd answer anything,
Well, you're perfect for this podcast.
Yeah. There we go.
Fantastic.
Print the ears off you, but look.
No,
it's all for a good cause, and it's always just to encourage other people, or inspire possibly, which is lovely.
Definitely. On behalf of the podcast, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and good luck with your Tough Mudder and your photo shoot in the future.
All right. Thank you so much. It's all fun and games, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.